All right. I think we're live. You can never tell. I'm going live to both Facebook and YouTube, and I've shared a link on locals.com. So if you go to zdogmd.locals.com, you can watch me there too and join that community, which is awesome, which is part of what I'm going to talk about today. So guys, Dr. Z, welcome to the ZDoggMD show. We're live. It's 4:44 Pacific. I only have a little bit of time to talk to you guys. It's December 10th. Lots going on in the news. But look, we're going to get into the vaccine, the FDA Advisory Committee hearing today, which Paul Offit, who's been on the show just this week, was talking about. He's one of the members. It looks like the FDA is probably going to gear up for an emergency use authorization for this Pfizer mRNA vaccine, which is actually really good news. And I just want to preface this whole thing with this because I think it's important, since we're going to talk about misinformation. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff actually today. Let me just make sure these streams are working. There they are. JTA is there on YouTube, and Facebook is blowing up with the usual crowd. Carrie D is here. Mary is here. All right. So you guys got to understand, when people talk about this vaccine being rushed, in fact, this was years and decades of science that went into producing this technology. What has been rushed is the process of studying it has been compressed. So instead of the regulatory hurdles that take decades to get something approved, the government de-risked part of it through Operation Warp Speed, but then the science had already been there, and now we have enough people that are getting infected that you can do robust trials with tens of thousands of people in a relatively short period of time. And as Paul Offit mentioned on the show, when serious, rare adverse effects happen from vaccines, they almost always happen within this 2-month trial period, 6 weeks, really, according to him. And so we would likely detect most of the major effects. Now, that being said, there still could be effects that we're not seeing that could happen well down the line, but they're presumably going to be rare. And then you have to do a risk benefit. But the bottom line is, you shouldn't be mandating this vaccine. And I don't think they're going to. Even for healthcare professionals, they're not going to say you have to take this because it's a new technology, right? The FDA isn't going to formally approve it till they have at least 6 months probably of safety data, which means you've got all of Great Britain because it's approved there. You've got Canada, you've got the United States, you've got Bahrain. These guys are already giving it. So you're going to see people who are actually pretty much volunteering to get this vaccine. You're going to have a lot of data. It's going to be very robust. The data we have already is quite robust. And so it's a very exciting display of science. Now, when Paul and I talked early on, we were talking about, well, is it too rushed? You know, can they do this in time? And it turns out that his concerns and mine have mostly been allayed. Now, I have to see all the final data, talk to him, talk to others before I myself go and in a live stream get the vaccine. I don't know why I'm pointing to my vein. It's my history of heroin abuse. And that's what it's going to take, but it's pretty encouraging, you guys. Like, this is really amazing. I mean, the end is in sight for this thing. And unless you think it's a hoax, which I advise you to go to any hospital in California right now and then come back and tell me that the thing is a hoax. This is not influenza. This is a pandemic novel coronavirus, which is doing what it does. Now, it doesn't mean you got to catastrophize. It doesn't mean you have to shut everything down. It doesn't mean you have to destroy our way of life, but it means you have to recognize, okay, here's the problem. What solutions make sense within what we value as a society, all right? So that all being said, we're going to talk much more about this on later shows. What I want to talk about right now is something that is very important. And it's important because everyone who's watching right now, except for the people on Locals, are using a social media platform from one of the big tech companies. So either you got my link on Twitter, you're watching on YouTube, or you're watching on Facebook. Now, social media has been a wonderful thing. It's allowed me to do what I do. It has allowed us to grow into this over 2.5 million people across platforms, almost 3 million people now that follow the show. None of that would be possible without the big technology social media platforms. It's been wonderful to democratize speech, to get people's ideas out there, to create a discussion forum, and then to take it one step further and actually put it in a supporter tribe where people are actually paying to be there, which means there's no ad incentive, there's no other rubbish, and it's self-selecting for people who want to be there, so they're nice to each other. Okay, but that's an exception in the social media pantheon. The typical public social media that we're on now, I'm live streaming to everybody right now, is the worst. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I mean, we're live. I'm just going to rant. There's no script. This is what I want to tell you. Social media, and I've said this before, is incentivized by attention. You are the product that they're selling. They're not selling you videos and all this. They're selling you to advertisers. That's the business model that drives social media, which means the more attention they can demand from you, the more addicted you are to your phone, the more you're desiring to share stuff, the more you get angry or emotional when you see a content because that provokes you to want to do something because that's how humans work, the more money the tech companies make. You are the product. Now, what that means is, I don't know about you, but there is ratcheting up use of this, more and more addiction, more and more polarization, more and more misinformation being spread everywhere. And now we're in a state where we have a pandemic and a vaccine, and I spend half my time making videos debunking misinformation that was spread on Facebook or YouTube, or both. And it is exhausting. If you look in the comment section on any of my videos, it is filled with the worst kind of garbage. The public stuff. It's just, whether it's conspiracy theory people or anti-vaxxers or whatever, it's drivel. And the people who are actually there to learn something or to have a reasonable conversation or to listen to all sides are just drowned out. They hate it. They're miserable. But yet they're compelled to continue to watch. It's an addiction, right? Now, that came to a head this morning when I posted a video that was debunking this idea that the Pfizer vaccine causes female sterility. And in that video, which said something of, does the new COVID vaccine cause female sterility? That was the title I put on it. The answer is no, it doesn't. But forget about that. It went out, and I was wondering, why is this not getting shared like it normally does? Normally, Facebook pushes this stuff out pretty aggressively because people click on it. It gets a lot of engagement. And again, look how even I'm talking. Look how I'm talking right now. I'm thinking about clicks and engagement, and well, that's going to generate ad revenue, and then that's going to do this, and that's going to do that. That's how the creators get tortured on social media. Forget about the users. You're tortured every single day by this garbage, whether it's ads or whether it's like clickbait headlines or whether it's misinformation. So in any event, I'm wondering, why is this not working, right? And I'm starting to get my little elephant up in an uproar going, oh, there's something wrong. Well, what was wrong is Facebook branded it as misinformation. So some algorithm or person read the title and said, oh, this is that sterilization misinformation, which yes, it is. That is misinformation, the original video, yet it reached hundreds of thousands of millions of people. But then they quickly brand my video misinformation. It says, this is misinformation. This is false, by independent fact checkers who did not watch even the beginning of the video, who did not even read the description of the video. They just read the title. When a big tech company has that amount of control over your voice, and it's a private company. Zuckerberg can do whatever he wants. When they have that control over your voice, when a non-doctor can look at a doctor's video and call it misinformation, right? We're in big trouble. Big, big trouble. And that for me was the final straw. I was like, I already hate social media. I find it to be poisonous. This whole addiction economy, this attention economy, it's such a poison. But I will tell you that it's a poison because it's monetized through ad revenue. That's the fundamental misincentive. It's just like in medicine. When you're paid fee for service, you're going to do a bunch of stuff to people, whether or not they need it. That's just how humans are. And that's how medicine is. I went to the dentist. They want to do a bunch of stuff to you. Why? Because you get paid to do it. They even believe it's correct, right? But That's how humans work. Well, social media, when you're looking at ads as your source of revenue, that's how it's going to work. They're going to try to get your attention. Misinformation spreads 6 times faster on average than normal information. So I was actually like, oh, I got bagged as misinformation. Maybe it'll go viral. No, it doesn't, because Facebook clamps probably how much it's shared, right? They're trying to do the right thing. They're doing it wrong. You can't clamp down on free speech that way and expect it not to backfire. So all that being said, social media makes us more anxious, more FOMO, more depressed, more suicidal. The way it's monetized causes that to happen. But what I discovered is when I created these supporter tribes on Facebook and YouTube, where people are paying $5 a month or whatever to come into a walled garden where we can all discuss, right? And there's a bunch of them now. Like, it's a legit social media thing. The social media part of it goes away, and now it just becomes humans exchanging ideas with love and respect. Holy crap. Like, the promise of social media is right there in your face. No one can censor you because it's not out in the public. It's just to your supporters, right? When they don't like you, they unsubscribe. So who am I beholden to? My own authenticity, because that's what they're paying for. They're paying to hang out with this doctor who speaks the truth as far as he knows it. And when he's wrong, he admits it. That's who they're hanging out with, right? So I found that I would get energized doing the live shows for them. And I simulcast to YouTube supporter tribe and Facebook supporter tribe. And I would get energized. I would come away refreshed. I felt like I had psychotherapy. I had none of that anxiety that I get sharing content on social media or consuming content on social media. And I thought, what is going on? Well, the difference is people are self-selecting because they have similar goals. They all have different politics. They all have different mindsets, but they have a goal, which is they want to make healthcare better. They want to learn about introspection, meditation. They want to be with like minds that actually disagree politely and don't take a crap on each other and aren't trolls to each other in the comments and aren't total idiots. And it's a joy, you guys. It's like a joy. And on top of that, they pay the bills, all the bills. So I have my team, their salaries are paid. I get to have all this nice equipment so that I can reach people. I can go to the public with sharing education and messages and then come back into that tribe, and then we go deep. Now, what I realized is Facebook at any point can just cancel me, just on a whim. So can YouTube. All you have to do is put out a headline that says forced sterilization and then do a video that debunks it. Doesn't matter. They're not watching the video. They're calling it misinformation. And so these guys from locals.com, which is a new website, reached out to me, Dave Rubin of Rubin Report, Scott Adams of Dilbert. They're kind of the honchos there, I think. And they said, look, we're tired of getting canceled. We're tired of free speech being squashed. We want to create a social media platform that doesn't feel like social media, that actually lives up to the promise of the thing, where people who want to be there go there and they engage in healthy dialogue and debate, and they support the creators monetarily at whatever level they want from the base that the creator sets. So I set it at $5. I just started it, and it's already like blowing up. So a lot of people are there free, so you can be a free member there and you can get the content. And this is what I'm going to tell you why I think it's so important. Forget about all this paid stuff. You go there to find a creator you like, and you consume their content on your schedule and pace. It's not a bottomless feed where it keeps recommending more garbage to you. And so instead of looking at your daughter over dinner, you're doing this. Instead of spending time introspecting, meditating, being alone, whatever your practice is, instead of reflection, you're down a limitless rabbit hole of more and more and more and more content that's addictive, that has a slot machine feel, that intermittently rewards you and is turning you into a product. Then on top of that is polarizing you against your own friends and family because of perceived political differences that are weaponized through a social media platform that rewards outrage and blame with money for advertisers and for the platform, and you're the product, and we've all been played. We've all been played. And normally I would be like, what is it, Facebook supporters, YouTube supporters, locals.com. It's just, is it me trying to get money from people? Like, what is it? No, honestly, the more I think about it, it's the future of how social media should work. You should pay for content that you like, and then I can publicly put out free content that I think is important to move the needle on these topics, and then we come in and we move the needle internally for ourselves. And I honestly don't know that I can be a part of entities that generate so much unhappiness in the world. They really do. Like, young girls are more depressed, more suicidal than they've ever been. There's this fear of missing out. Instagram, these fake ass posts where you're trying to post your personal stuff and look better than real. And it's garbage, you guys. Why are we doing it? We don't spend time alone. We don't spend time with people. We don't spend time discussing. Would you treat someone the way you treat them on social media? Would you treat them that way in person? No way you wouldn't, right? And it's the same in these little walled gardens, these like, whether it's locals or supporters here, we treat each other. My God, we're friends, we're family, and we can yell at each other and still be family. It's so different than the wide open internet, the way social media is monetized. I mean, and it's making me really think, and I put the links in the description, all that. It's making me really think that we should give that a shot. Because after today, it's like, look, even if I look at my comment section, I want to die. Like, it's so awful. And honestly, the business side of me is like, great. Let a bunch of dipshits comment on my video that are off the wall, conspiracy loons and antagonistic and hateful and all that, because all it does is tell Facebook and YouTube, hey, this is a popular video. It's got a lot of engagement. Share this more views, more clicks on the ads, more revenue. That's how creators are forced to think. That the more controversy you generate, the more outrage you generate, the more provocative the thumbnail and the title, the more they're going to get paid. And it's an addiction for a creator. Look at that. I got more likes. I got more shares. Look at that one. It's going viral. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. Dude, it sucks. It really sucks to have that kind of addiction as a creator. I just want to authentically be me. That's all I want to do. And when I'm rewarded to do that, oh man, it's a shot of dopamine that never stops. It's just such a good feeling. And the audience knows, my supporters know when I'm in that flow state. So this was not what I meant to talk about. It really wasn't. But it's so important. So this is what I'm proposing. Look, if you don't want to pay, go over to Locals and give it a spin and try the free version. If you want to stay on Facebook public, YouTube is less problematic, honestly, because you go there for content. Yeah, it'll feed you a bunch of related videos, but it's not as bad as Facebook, man. Facebook is a black hole. If you want to cancel all that and just go to Locals, I promise you, I will do my best to create that supporter tribe that actually spans the three together at first, for sure, right? And let's see what happens. Maybe this is the solution to the problem of social media, because we have to transcend that to get to that next stage of what is, the correct pattern of human evolution. It's not to be stuck in this hamster wheel of social media. And by the way, I'm seeing all the people sending stars on Facebook. Thank you very much for your support. Again, that's like another dopamine thing. Oh, look at all the stars. But it does mean that you care enough to support the show, because when you put your money towards a creator, and I don't care which creator it is, go support them. Then they get to be them. They don't have to be anyone but them. All right, guys, I love you so much. I really do. Even the haters, I do love you. And the last thing I want to say is this, like, increasingly, I want to talk about, how can we counter misinformation with information? How can we counter all this antagonism and hate with self-reflection and love, which is a real thing? It transcends party, it transcends politics, it transcends religion. It is truly is integral philosophy that takes all the good that's come before and integrates the shadow part of it and says, okay, that's the bad stuff. I get it. And that's what I want to be talking about, is how we can get to a better state, because that's going to change everything. It's going to change our politics. It's going to change our science. It's going to change our media, our social media, and how we either connect with each other or continue to be alienated, disconnected, and trapped in these spirals of not just hate, but self-hate, which is the worst. Because when you don't love and have compassion for yourself, you can't connect with others. All right. I love you. And now I have to click 14 different buttons across the platforms to be out. So we are Facebook, we are out. And YouTube, we are out.